Ayakatubby. Jim Leonard, the center of the controversy in the semifinal. He'll be reffing up, and George Carey is down. If you don't know what we're talking about, we're going to show you that controversy when we can. Early in this match, it was between Brian Lewis and Jim Leonard, and centered on a missed touch call. Brian Lewis was very adamant the fact that Leonard was working him over. So Lewis very, very mad at Leonard at the end of the semifinal. As we look at Scott Ayakatubby, 6'4", 204, 9 career ones. Interestingly, he's tied with Mike Whitmarsh. He could go ahead of Whit today. Ack will serve it first.
They're starting on the good side, trying to get out early again in these very, very windy conditions as the afternoon is worn on. First point scoring opportunity for Ayakatubby down the line.
And Scott the Bomber records his first kill. There's Ayakatubby, white tank top. He's got the green and black trunks on with the dingle balls, which give him some aerodynamically improved flight. You look down at those trunks, the dingle balls are low. There they are. They're hanging, but they do work. 1-0, Ayakatubby Karai. He gave me a pair of those once. I was really flying that day when I was playing basketball. Ace for Ayakatubby.
We talked so much about Brian Lewis in the semifinals and his ability to jump serve the volleyball and move it around, but Ack is very, very good as well. Had a long time to rest here, serving from the good side into a windy situation, maybe 15 miles an hour.
Scott Ayakatubby and Karch Karai have 2. And now they have 3.
Look at that, bombing up the middle.
And a timeout is going to be coming by Brian Lewis and Bill Boulliane. They're deciding, is it going to be a 20-second variety, or do we stink enough right now to call for a minute timeout? Let's see.
They're stalling a little bit here, and Jim Leonard giving them a little extra time. They wandered about.
I'm surprised they didn't call timeout. Ayakatubby's hot. He knows he whacks another one, and Boulliane has it. Boulliane, Ack with the dig. And Karch with the block.
Boy, out early, doing everything. I'm not sure that ball cleared the net, but Karai in perfect position to block the ball. Ack playing good defense, jump serving well, and in windy conditions, getting the momentum. Karch was off the net. He might have barely gotten a touch through the top of the tape. We'll give him a half a stuff block there, and now Boulliane and Lewis do take the 20-second timeout.
So Brian Lewis and Bill Boulliane, their best finish of the year so far. They're guaranteed second, but they're trailing 4-0. So just hoping to get one on the bad side and go over and whack their jump serves. You see Brian Lewis now 27 years old, and last win 1993 in Chicago with Randy Stokos.
It's been a long drought for Brian Lewis. He's had a lot of injuries, missed a number of tournaments.
Right.
Another tough serve.
Another tough chance. Here comes Boulliane. And out of the reach of Ayakatubby.
Talk about an important side out and a scrambling one. Boulliane's got to get into this match a little bit. He's been aced and passed a couple of balls poorly, moving up the line. There you get a look at Beef. I think he's a little bit over 6'3", very, very strong. Playing good volleyball all season long once he got with Brian Lewis.
Bill Boulliane to serve. Working on Karch. Karch's first spiking attempt. And he taps it over the top.
Easy looking side out. I tell you, Karch passing the ball with Ayakatubby setting, a fabulous side out combination. That's why Lewis and Boulliane have got to serve the ball very, very tough. They're Karch, now 34 years of age. The winds just keep piling up.
Now, one thing, when the wind is blowing this hard, you have to lower your toss. Let's see if Karch does that. He threw that one up pretty high.
And toss it farther out in front.
He's hitting it hard. It's 4-0. Lewis on 2, and Karch gobbles it up. KK on the right.
Got to come.
Lewis and Ack with the knuckler. Invented by the Japanese and utilized by the Ayakatubby.
And Ack, one of the few players to win on both the right and the left side. Bombing from the left this time for the score. The 5-0 side change.
Leonard. It was tied up against Dodd and Whitmarsh. Lewis thought he got a touch on this play off Whitmarsh. Watch the explosion by Lewis when he doesn't get the call.
Spike by Brian Lewis is long.
You guys are so terrible! How can you not hear that?
That's Jim Leonard.
That is so bad! How can you not hear that? Are you kidding me? How can you not hear that? Jesus Christ! What the is going on out here?
Thank God we had the bleeper going.
You guys are terrible! How can you not hear that? That is terrible!
And a little later in the interview with Paul Sunderland, Brian Lewis said, Jim Leonard, honestly, has missed 3 of those this year for me. And does he think he's doing it purposely? I guess he does.
Well, at least at the time. But, you know, you and I differ on this a little bit. I think you obviously would speak for yourself, but I've never seen a referee that I thought was intentionally missing calls to favor one player or another. Not that I've been aware of it. Maybe I'm just being naive, but I've never seen it.
You know, it really doesn't matter what we think. Brian Lewis thought Jim Leonard was cheating,
indeed.
and I think that was the bottom line, and that's why he went off into the explosion.
Well, and a chance for them to go into the finals of the winners bracket, and it turned out to be a huge call and a pressure situation, and Louis went off.
Yeah, a nuclear meltdown.
Well, but he regained his composure.
Right.
You know, they played extremely well from the 4th place match, and then they came back and beat Dodd and Whitmarsh to get into their first final of the year.
Trailing 5-0 now as Karch and Ack are on the bad side. Louis is going to try to jack it up, and he jacks it into the net.
They can't get impatient, though. I mean, Karch and Ack scored 5 points from the good side. You would expect them to have at least gotten 3, probably 4 to 1. So they got the 5-0 side change. You know, Lewis and Boulliane have got to stay patient, stay calm, don't panic right now, and just try to find some side-out confidence.
Here comes Boulliane, and Boulliane into the net. Make it 6-0. So beat Louis off to a horrible start. Karai and Ayakatubby looking like the team of the future. Kent Steffes was watching this now going, no, they're up 6-0, no.
Unforced error. You cannot make mistakes against Karai and Ayakatubby or any of the best teams.
Ayakatubby to serve. And Boulliane right down to Ack. Good dig.
From the left again.
And he wraps it.
Hey, Ayakatubby on the run not only got to the ball, but he scooped that thing right back to Karch in very good position. Watch the execution defensively. Ack never goes all the way down, but commits himself to play right through the ball with both hands, scoops it right to Karch. Easy point-scoring conversion.
Scott Ayakatubby having a terrific year. Someone told me that his sponsor, Primitive Prince, the main sponsor, was so happy with him, he bought him a 35-inch TV after his win in Dallas. If he wins another big one, we'll see. Coming back, Ack and Karai by 7. Bombing Beef Louis at the moment.
And serving very, very well from the bad side. Aren't they indeed? This is from the bad side. Scott Ayakatubby whipping it up against Brian Lewis.
8-0 now.
Look at this. Ack, you know, right in Brian Lewis's class in terms of jump serving. And another ace by Ack. Just look at Karch is bowing down to his partner. I'll tell you.
Fast points for Scott Ayakatubby to make it 9-0.
Lewis and Boulliane just have not put up any resistance whatsoever. They're not passing the ball. They're unable to get into any sort of side-out rhythm. Unforced errors when they do pass the ball well, and Ayakatubby just doing everything else.
That's what's going to make it so hard for Karch Karai when Kent Steffes does come back. He remembers the great years with Steffes, the dominating years, 20 straight weeks in the finals, an AVP record. But then he looks back and he says, hey, I've got Scott Ayakatubby whacking the jump serve and scoring points. We're leading 9-0 in a final. Karch told me earlier this week he honestly does not know what he's going to do when Kent returns to the tour.
And I think that's an honest answer.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows. I just, you know, okay, I've been on vacation for 2 weeks.
Yes,
I got a little bit of an
have.
excuse. So I'm going to just hypothesize here. I think that Karch will stay with Ack through the remainder of this year.
Okay.
I think that's how it will come to pass. Okay. Because there's so much on the line in the next month. Clearly, it looks like Karai and Ayakatubby are going to win here. And then we go to Belmar next week, or they're going to be playing in Hermosa, so we see what happens there.
Boulliane hits it out of bounds. Wow, this one is
This is
hopper. So Scott Ayakatubby and Karch Karai make Boulliane pull a Hopland. You figure that out. We'll be back. It's 10-0. Finish for them. Doug Faust and Craig Moodhart. Good finish for them, although they could do a little bit better. Troy Tanner, Wes Welch, they have not played as well as they did when they first got back together. Troy Tanner playing in Japan, and Dane Bland and Ian Clark knocked out by Sonicson and Sawara.
That's a good team. They played very, very well. Al Jantz, Pat Powers. Pat finally getting back up in the upper echelon. Of course, that big knee surgery a couple of weeks ago.
A couple of years ago,
Yeah, a couple of years ago, excuse me. Canyon Seaman, Jeff Rogers, been consistent. Remember after the second that they had some time ago early in the season, Adam Johnson, Jose Loyola. You know, they had a 7th, a 5th,
Time for them to break up.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. That's not going to happen.
We're just kidding.
Hey, another team that had a great tournament this week, Leif Hansen and Chris Young, played extremely well throughout the course of the entire weekend. And the team of note this week, no doubt about it, the 2 former Bruins, Matt Sonics and Billy Suara in 4th place. And Dodd Whitmarsh, always among the top 3 or 4 teams, it seems, if not in the finals. They finished 3rd this week.
Sonics and Suara, a career finish for both of them.
Well, they were 5th a couple of weeks ago in New Jersey. So
that's why I said career, because they got 4th.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay,
but
good.
all I'm pointing out is that they've been playing pretty darn well.
They have been. 10-0 is our score, and Beef Louie in all kinds of trouble as Karch pokes down the 11th point. We were trying to figure during the break if we'd ever seen a bagel in a final. We remember, we remember 1991 at Venice when Frohoff and Karai smothered St. John Smith and Randy Stokos 15-1, I believe.
It was 15-1.
It was 15-1.
I don't remember
a 15-0 in a final.
A bagel in a final. I just don't remember one.
Well, we're 4 points away from it. 4 points away from recent AVP history, although I wouldn't trust our memories as the AVP record book.
I think they're probably pretty reliable. There have been some blowouts, and there have been some incredibly memorable finals.
I remember Karch and Kent beat Wes Welch and Troy Tanner 15-0 in a
Dallas.
game. Yeah, but I don't think it was in the championship final. I think it was like in a 3rd place game or something. Remember Tanner and Welch had just got there, and they were all excited, and they got into 3rd place, and they got smoked. Here comes Karch. And Lewis got a dig. Woo! Louie and Beef. Did they get a point? Yes, they did.
On the scoreboard, they now are off the bagel onto the French fry. Looking for the curly fry.
And so Boulliane will serve.
Now, let's not lose sight of the fact that Boulliane and Lewis have had a phenomenal season so far this year. Lewis being injured early, and they've been extremely consistent throughout the course of the season. And obviously, it becomes a grind with all the coast-to-coast travel and whatnot. They played extremely well. Not the way they would have liked to have acquitted themselves in their first final of this season.
Karch to serve at 11-1. Lewis, nice little tap shot. In case you missed it, Tim Hovland not here this week. He has a strained muscle. Randy Stoklos apparently is going to play next week in Hermosa Beach with Brooke Vandeweghe. So that is going to be good news. I asked his wife, Carrie. Everybody says he's going to be playing with St. John Smith on the international FIVB circuit. She says, I've not heard one word about that. That's news to me. There's been no talk of him playing with St. John Smith on the FIVB tournament circuit, and that he is coming back to the AVP circuit as Ayakatubby dinks it into the bottom of the net. So Stoklos could be an intriguing factor when Kent comes back. If Ayakatubby sticks with Karch, could be a partner for Kent Steffes or some of the other players on tour. 11-2 now. As Lewis trying to get it revved up, working on Scott Ayakatubby. And Ayakatubby working on them. Is that the best thing Ayakatubby does is hit? What's his best skill? Hit, serve, or set?
I think set.
You think it's setting?
I think when you compare it to all the other players, I mean, I got to put him, I think we're looking at 2 of the very best setters in the game right now between Brian Lewis and Scott Ayakatubby. Karch has said, nobody has ever set me better than Ayakatubby. But Ak is right up there, I think top 5 or 6 with the best players at all the important skills. Another unforced error. Jump serving. Certainly you'd include him among the top 3 or 4. Setting. Top hitting. It's top 2 or 3 hitting. Top 4, 5, 6. Blocking, maybe that's a little bit bigger group. He's a little bit farther down on that one, but
I think blocking and defense, he's underrated. He's a little bit better than everybody thinks.
Well, I agree with that.
Timeout taken by Boulliane and Lewis.
And also, you know, you're playing behind Karch defensively, who's technically a very good blocker. You watch him making big moves and study the way he moves his hands. I think you improve a lot in those areas when you want to work on them.
Next week, I want to mention something that the AVP on NBC is going to be live 2-day coverage. Saturday and Sunday, both Paul and I will be there. Also, the FIVB International Tournament is going to be at Hermosa Beach in California. So a number of the AVP teams are going to be playing in that. However, that tournament starts early, and some of the AVP teams could be playing in both. So you have to tune in to find out as Karch shanks it out of bounds. Good hit by Brian Lewis.
And just to explain a little bit further, if I'm not mistaken, Dodd and Whitmarsh and Kirai and Ayakatubby are into the main draw. And then all of the other AVP teams like Brian Lewis, Bill Boulliane, and so many others have to play in a pre-qualifier.
Pre-qualifier,
starts on Wednesday, and then a qualifier. And then if they get into the main draw, they will not go on to Belmar. But those teams that don't make the main draw will then, of course, fly
right to
coast
Belmar. Yeah. So next week, don't look for us on Prime. We'll be on NBC live 2-day coverage. Check your local listings. Here comes Ayakatubby. And a nice dig by Boulliane. Let's see if we can put one away here.
Look at that set.
And Boulliane and Ayakatubby with the spear job, but it's going out of bounds. So Brian Lewis saying, yes, I set that perfectly. And we got a point. 6:41 to go. Plenty of time for a comeback. 12-3. Ayakatubby, Kirai are up big time. And let's recap for you. Kirai Steffes getting off to a great start, winning the first 2 outdoor tournaments. Then Steffes hurt his arm, and Dodd and Whitmarsh took over for 2 tournaments before Karch, after being with Rob Hydra, hooked up with Ayakatubby to win in Mesa, Arizona.
And move on from there. This is where Ayakatubby and Kirai won 3 in a row, including San Diego and Dallas. Then it was Dodd and Whitmarsh again in a double final in San Francisco, Atlanta. Ayakatubby and Kirai got it going again. You see the pattern there. Ayakatubby, Kirai, or Dodd or Whitmarsh who win in Baltimore. Seaside, Johnson and Jose Loyola, of course, the first non-American to win a title on the AVP Tour there. Chicago, it was Kirai and Ayakatubby again. Minneapolis, Johnson and Loyola. So you see those same teams winning week in, week out. There is yet to be a major surprise on top of the platform.
I was thinking when we got here this week that there are 3 excellent teams on the AVP Tour, and now I'm thinking about elevating Boulliane and Lewis into that echelon. They have played very steady. They're in the final. They're not playing well here, but hey, they're on the good side. Yeah, on a given day, they can beat anybody on tour. They just have not done it consistently. Boulliane on the good side, serving hard. Ayakatubby, and Lewis pops it out of bounds.
Brian Lewis is a little bit late there, retreating as a blocker, and Ack just shot the ball right at him. Good smart shot offensively off the tough set by Karch Kirai.
Karch Kirai now just $200,000 away from winning $2 million. Looks like Karch is going to be the first man to $2 million. Of course, Ken Steffes had always hoped that he would be the first man there, but suffering the shoulder injury.
Oh, look at that. Ayakatubby. Boy, talk about getting over the net, jumping into the cross court. Boulliane had to deal with Mike Whitmarsh in the game before when he went. Look at Ack. You see where he started and then where he ended up broad jumping or laterally sideways moving into the path of the shot by Bill Boulliane. Big blocking move.
11-0 was the score. Beef Louie got a couple to make it 11-2, but Karch and Ack now leading 13-3. So going to be a very interesting upcoming few weeks for the AVP Tour. In the next few weeks, there are 4 $250,000 tournaments. There's one $175,000 tournament. And of course, then there's the $1 million that's given away by Miller Lite at the end of the year. And of course, Karch is going to get, he's going to get his pile of dough, don't you think?
Well, he will get more than what some players would say his fair share, but he earns every dollar. He'll go over $2 million this year, certainly. I mean, if he wins the bonus pool, that's another 125 right there.
Well, they've already counted, so it just depends on whether Kirai and Ayakatubby win a couple of those big ones that pay out $50,000
The Cuervos coming up in Boulder and in Santa Cruz.
Right, and the U.S. Championships in Hermosa. Lewis with the serve. It's been no contest here in the final. Beef Louie played very well to eliminate Dodd and Whitmarsh, but have just run out of gas here. As we mentioned, they have not played in the final, and when you get that far, sometimes you just make it that far, and they had a tough one.
You lose your edge just a little bit. You make it up to that platform, that level that you hadn't been in all season long. Of course, Bill Boulliane's been in finals before, a couple of them last season, but has yet to win his first.
I tell you what,
it's a matter of time for him.
Beef Louie could get an assist from Jim Leonard, the first referee. If Leonard would just make a crummy call and set them both off, maybe they get the energy to come back. What do you think? There's Leo. He's considered, by the way, we're kidding around, but Jim Leonard is considered the finest referee on the AVP Tour. A save by Ayakatubby, 13-3. Set Louie. Louis is off touch. Of course, you ask Brian Lewis, he would not agree with that assessment of Jim Leonard as a referee.
Look at Ack chasing after the ball. Ends up free ball opportunity for Brian Lewis and Bill Boulliane, both with very good ball control. Little Louis stepping in. He wants to hammer that ball.
You like Leonard as ref?
Yeah, I think he's good.
Yeah,
and obviously,
good
so does everybody else. That's why he always does
not
the finals.
everybody.
You know what I mean. He wouldn't be calling all the big matches if the players and tournament director Matt Gage and others who evaluate the refs didn't think that he was the best.
Right.
He just wouldn't have the job.
Yeah. Not to beat it to death, but I think Louis thinks he has a hearing problem.
Well, you know, I'll bring this point up once more,
Okay.
and I've mentioned it several times.
Yes, you have, as you normally do, with most of your points. Go ahead.
Should I give it people have probably forgotten you give me so much guff before I get to the point.
I'm glad to have you back. I really am. Although I liked working with Steffes. He was fun, too. Of course, he made me sick, so. Lewis with the dig.
I'd like to say he's stuck in your craw, but it's stuck someplace else.
Louis is wide. 13-4 is our score.
All right, here's the point I'm going to make.
He gave me a pain. No. You gave me a pain in the neck. He gave me a pain in the kidney.
Couple of weeks ago, I was lobbying for single elimination, and after we get to this,
okay, go ahead.
Unforced error right there by Brian Lewis. Got to have, absolutely have to have linesmen for semifinal games. The games are just too important.
Right.
And you see the linesmen out here for the finals. You've got two refs, Greg Krause, Kim Pickering, who are both very highly qualified officials, and then you have four officials working this match. But in the semifinals, there you see Greg Krause on one of the lines. In the semifinals, you only have the referee and the umpire.
Right, no lines people at all.
And I think this sport has gotten too big. It's too professionalized. There's too much on the line. That just is asking too much of the officials to make, you know, important calls when it's necessary.
Did the ball touch? Apparently it did.
Lewis didn't think so.
And Boulliane hits it out. And Lewis saying no touch. Wow. He's going to...
Ball never went in the block.
I'm going to say the ball never went over.
Asked for some help down below from George Carey. Good teamwork by the officials. Don't, you know, wait till the play is over and then clarify.
What's that?
Jim Leonard, a highly respected real estate agent, in his spare time. Interestingly, he sold both Angino and Loyola their current homes. I wonder if that affects officiating when he does their matches. I guess they don't give.
Depends if they paid the commission or not.
If they're already paid.
Scott Ayakatubby getting back to this match, been served primarily. He's received 9 serves, has 6 kills. He's blocked balls, he's served, he's played defense. And that's where Ack likes to go. He can hammer the ball across court. But on the left side, there are not a lot of guys who can hit the ball across their body and away from their body with the velocity of Ayakatubby. That set's too tight.
13-5. Karch spears
collision under the net, and Boulliane is underneath.
Yeah, that's interference, so it's going to be the 14th point.
Smart play by Ack.
Well, I don't think Ack had much of a choice.
Well, watch. It's incidental contact right there. No, Boulliane, you're right. Yeah. You're right. Boulliane took him out. But, you know, if there's contact that is incidental, a lot of times the player who has been hit just a little bit will fall down and force the play. It's much like drawing the charge in the NBA.
Yeah, Beef kind of shish kebabbed him on that one. 5:34 to go. Ayakatubby Karai leading Bill Boulliane. Obviously a little bit winded. Having to go the distance today with Brian Lewis. Pretty good sight here in Boston. One more reminder, the $100,000. It's winner take all. The Great Texas Shootout.
A lot of volleyball to be played, and don't forget Loyola and Johnson. Yeah. They could win 3 or 4 in a row.
First championship point for Karchi. Karchi looking for his 107th win.
This could be it.
This should be it.
That is it.
Yeah, that's the end of it. So Karai and Ayakatubby just too much for Brian Lewis and Bill Boulliane. Karch and Ack finished first. Boulliane and Lewis finished second. We'll come back. We'll have more for you on Prime after this.
The Open and down courtside. The easy victors. You guys aren't even sweating a little bit, but give Brian Lewis and Bill Boulliane a little credit for getting into the finals. But 5-0 start, and you were bombing serves from the good side, the bad side, every which way you can.
They had to play a couple more games than us, so I think they might have been a little tired, and the first thing that goes when you're tired is passing, and I went off my jump serves, and they're shanking them left and right.
No concern after the long wait. I mean, after you win the winner's bracket, you sit out, and the weather conditions really changed. It cooled off and got particularly windy, but that didn't concern you at all?
Well, I was worried about being a little cold with this wind and cloud cover. And in fact, I did get cold watching you serve all those balls.
You didn't have to do very much.
Didn't have a lot to do out there. Nice playing.
All right, this week in Hermosa, you're playing in your first international event together. The ball is different. The rules interpretations are a little bit different. What are your feelings about that first competition? And are you feeling some pressure to go out there, you know, after all the controversy and represent the AVP and take care of some business against the international guys?
I'm looking forward to it, just to prove to everybody, you know, we are the best players in the world, and however they want to change the rules to their favor, you know, it doesn't matter. I think we're still better.
All right. Final said. Kart, your thoughts on the international event?
We're looking forward to playing.
All right. Look for them at Hermosa, their first appearance in an international event, but certainly congratulations for winning here in Boston. Chris, yours.